management director in the apps group, which handles things like Gmail and Calendar, and this is really the Open Social group inside.
What is Open Social?
Open Social is an common embedding API that allows, that's implemented by social networks or other websites, that allows developers to learn one API for getting their application embedded in that social network, and allow users of those social networks to use those applications. So, for example, if Slide wants to get its application distributed in, let's say, High5 and MySpace, Ning, or LinkedIn, they don't have to learn multiple APIs. They learn the Open Social API, and they can use that Open Social API to get their application embedded in all those social networks. The goal is to have users of these social networks have lots and lots of things to be able to do. And the only way to get users lots and lots of things to do is to allow third parties to develop those things for their users to do. And the only way to do that is to become a platform. So the question is, do you want to try to become a platform which is unique to you, which gives the challenge for developers to have to learn something new, or by being part of Open Social, which, by the way, is an open standard, has an Apache reference implementation, so it's easy for you to adopt it, and again is an open standard. This is something that allows you to easily offer a platform for developers, which is good for developers, but obviously good for the social network too, because they get applications which give their users things to do. A large number of social networks have adopted it, both domestically in the United States, abroad in Europe, South America, and Asia. There's about 300 million users represented by those social networks. The big ones in the States would be folks like MySpace. In South America would be folks like High5. Some business networks like Viadeo in Europe, Mixi in Japan. So a large number of worldwide social networks. You asked who hasn't. Obviously there's several that haven't joined but haven't done one thing or another in terms of a platform strategy. Obviously, Facebook is not a member of Open Social. We'd love them to be if that ever were a reality. What's going to get a user to go to another social network? If there's nothing to do on your social network, but everything to do on MySpace or Facebook or some other place, then they might move. But there is inertia in social networks. Users like to be where their friends are, and if their friends are already on a social network, then what you'd rather have is a situation where you can get the maximum number of applications on your social network. Now, another reason to adopt Open Social is that if developers develop something for MySpace using Open Social, then with a minimum amount of work, that application should work on any other Open Social network. So if you're a new social network, joining Open Social gives you the benefit of having lots of applications that have been written for Open Social that should work with a minimum of effort on your own social network, giving you an out-of-the-box kind of head start on total number of things for your users to do. Orchid, which is Google's owned social network, big in India and Brazil, has a Open Social sandbox with many Open Social applications on it. MySpace has an Open Social sandbox with many Open Social applications in it. High5 has an Open Social sandbox with a lot of applications in it. Ning has an Open Social sandbox, and all of these partners are in various stages of moving from their sandbox, where developers can access it, into production, where users can access it. So I would say in a matter of a month or so, you'll see Orchid come out. Much sooner than that, but I'll be vague. And I can't speak to when our other partners have to say when they're going from sandbox into production. There's another project that Google did about 4 or 5 weeks ago called the Social Graph API, which really tries to deal with the issue of friend portability, making it so that users can bring their friends to various websites as opposed to having to re-enter all that information every single time they do something social on a website. And that again is called the Social Graph API, and really just crawls for publicly available social connections between users, particularly a protocol called XFN and a protocol called FOF. And ultimately what that will allow is for developers of websites to be able to add friend capability into their website without requiring a user to like import their Gmail address book or something else that's something cumbersome like that. I have a phrase which is operational tempo, which is just the notion that your group should be moving, that the most important thing to measure is how quickly your development group is moving, and that oftentimes the right thing to do is the fast thing to do. It's often that those things correlate. You can spend a lot of time figuring out what the right thing to do is, but you often find that you have a better chance of getting it right if you can get something done fast. And so, what can you do in 2 to 3 weeks from a development point of view? And also the other thing with operational tempo that I like to do is public demos of stuff. So getting a group together and showing publicly what you've been working on about every 2 to 3 weeks is a really effective way of kind of showcasing, highlighting, creating a deadline, an internal deadline, inspiring other people about what's going to happen. But that's what I mean by operational tempo. Getting something demoable, even if it's with a terrible UI, is huge, because the earlier you can get feedback on your ideas by having something working end to end, the better.
Right. Even if you're working on a very secret project of stealth mode of something.
Yeah, I'm not saying every idea is completely implementable in 2 to 3 weeks. Obviously, that would be absurd. But within any particular idea, oftentimes there's a chunk that you can get done in 2 to 3 weeks, a small piece of it that really starts helping you test whether your overall idea is good.